This is a special podcast presentation from 700WLW.com. This is Thompson on Demand.
I'm going to put these wiener headlines on my blog at 700WLW.com. They'll be up probably shortly after the show today, maybe 12:30ish. Someone had a great suggestion. You know that Kathleen Parker from the show Parker Spitzer? Spitzer Parker? Parker Spitzer. She's has left or is going to be leaving, so maybe they need a replacement, and wouldn't it be great to put Anthony Weiner with Elliot Spitzer? I mean, these guys have something in common, public office, a little bit of a scandal involving sex, and you could call it Weiner Spitzer. I think you have that could be a gold mine for CNN. That's big. Coming up at about 11:06, we're going to talk with City Council, County Commissioner Chris Monzel, about the public housing situation. There's some new information. It's interesting that the county commissioners couldn't get all the information they want, that they were being apparently excluded from the conversation between CMHA and HUD. Why wouldn't they give them the information so they can make good choices and good decisions? We'll talk to him about it about 11:06 this morning. Right now, Steve Siebold, how are you, sir?
Hey, good, thanks.
Steve is the author of How Rich People Think. Now, this is not a book about our midday host, Bill Cunningham, right?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay, because everyone knows Willie's got money, and, we all want a little bit of it. But you claim that right now is the best time to make millions?
Absolutely. There's more opportunities now than ever, and probably in American history, because there's so many new problems to solve, and the masses are running for cover, which means they're not focused on solving those problems. So they're wide open for people to get rich solving.
So necessity is the mother of invention.
No question about it. Always has. It's what built this country.
That's a great point. I hadn't looked at it that way, but I remember, let's say 2006-07, when most people were doing pretty well still, and I had an inkling that some things were going wrong, but it seemed like ideas were kind of stagnating. Everybody was off, everybody was happy doing stuff, so maybe they weren't focused on needs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, the wealth is built by solving problems. I mean, and the bigger problem you solve, the more money you make. I mean, it's a pretty simple equation. So when people are comfortable, they're not looking to solve problems. And now people are uncomfortable, but I think the opportunities are so wide open because so many people are running for cover, hoarding food, buying gold and silver that's overpriced, and all these things that they're buying into from the media, while all these problems are left unsolved.
Look at any great time of development in American history. It was usually around or just after or during a time of a lot of trouble. So that makes a whole lot of sense, too.
Oh, no question about it. I mean, our history is full of these examples, and I think now it's just better than ever. It's easier to become a millionaire in America right now than it's ever been with technology and the internet. I mean, there's so many great opportunities. It's just which one to pick.
So it's not just, wow, I lose my car keys every day, so I got to invent something to, so I don't lose my car keys, or I can find them when I do lose them. It's also other things like, hey, a lot of people don't have food, or education is struggling in America right now. Some of these big issues we talk about, those are all problems that somebody could theoretically come up with an idea to fix and make a bunch of money.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at the energy situation, our dependence on foreign oil, which has been going on for so many years that no one has really stepped up and solved, including the government. And it's just a huge problem. And there's a lot of little problems going on too. That you don't have to change the world to get rich. All you have to do is solve a problem for enough people that care about it, and they'll gladly make you wealthier than you'll ever need to be.
So, and there's a couple different ways. I've always heard there's a couple of ways to get wealthy, to make a lot of money. Number one, invent something completely new, whether it's Microsoft or the horseless carriage or whatever it is. Or you take something that may exist and do it better than anybody else. Maybe you alter it, or you just do it better than anybody. So if people are struggling, I mean, school exists right now, let's say, and they're not getting the education they want. Maybe I just find a way to do it better than everybody else, or I invent something completely new.
Definitely, and I think that most of us are kind of think of getting rich as you've got to invent some giant thing or something new that never has existed before. But most people get rich. Most millionaires, who I've been interviewing for 27 years now, get wealthy providing a service. a basic service in some cases, sanitation. I mean, just basic things. Yard service. I mean, there's all kinds of really basic things that are not new, but people still need those services and still want those services, and they're not real sexy, but they can make you wealthy.
So it's not even, I need this earth-shattering idea. I'm getting together with 3 friends, and we're trying to, come up with some tremendous idea. It's just doing something that may even already exist, but actually doing it, providing that service.
Exactly right. I made millions of dollars in the last 15 years consulting companies to help them increase through what I call mental toughness training. So I just saw a very small niche market need where salespeople weren't as mentally tough and focused as they needed to be, like athletes are trained to be, which I come from. And so I stepped in, I started training them, and I sold it for millions and millions of dollars.
Talking with Steve Siebold, the author of How Rich People Think. There's also a positive aspect. You've got to think positive about this stuff too, right? You can't think, well, wowsy, woo, woo, I got to go to work today. I'm going to go out and make some money. I can do this. It's a good thing.
Yeah, the wealthy approach money completely differently than the masses, and I don't think most people believe that. I get pushback on this every day. People really think the wealthy and the masses think the same way, but about money, and it's like they're living on a different planet. And I think overall, the difference is that the wealthy are approaching it, as you say, through positive terms, or thinking about money in terms of excitement, opportunity, freedom, abundance, whereas most people are thinking, I hope I have enough to survive.
How do rich people and people who are possibly coming up with these ideas or starting a new company or, planning stuff like this, how do they look at adversity? I hear these great quotes from people like Edison who say, I didn't fail thousands of times. I found thousands of ways not to make a light bulb. And those are great quotes, but do people like that really think that way? Do they really think that their failures are a good thing?
It's a great question. After all these interviews, almost 30 years, what I think it really is that they're so focused on where they're going that the adversities and the failures along the way, which of course they have many. I mean, most of these millionaires fail more times in a year than most people, fail in a lifetime because of trying new things all the time at such a rapid rate. But I don't think they're any more mentally tough necessarily than any of the rest of us. I just think they're so focused on the end result that when they hit the bump in the road, they almost don't even notice it, and they just keep going because they know they're not going to stop until they achieve the goal.
So
so they just keep going.
So it doesn't even matter. That's just a bump. I'm just going. That's not the goal. So why would I slow down or stop?
Yeah, it doesn't almost seem to matter to them. They just sort of, and what they'll do is when I've asked them about it over the years, they'll say, I asked a billionaire last year in Aspen, I said, geez, you lost $100 million on this deal. I read about it in Forbes magazine. And he says, oh yeah. He says, you're absolutely right. He says, but see, that was a $100 million investment because what you didn't read was we made $400 million off that 6 months later. What we learned losing the $100 million. And he was excited about it, and I'm thinking, wow, I need to think more like that.
Well, because whether it's $400 million or $4, they're not. It's just the money they have. They're going to do this stuff. They're not looking at the value of it from that aspect. What it could buy. Or
it doesn't matter if it's 440 or 400 or 400 million. Exactly, it's all relative numbers. I mean, that he lives in that world, and certainly most of us don't. I sure don't. But it's the mindset more than the number.
Well, the mindset really that kind of comes down to those popular books a couple of years ago. Oprah had on The Secret, and it was based on something else. It was if you want whatever it is you want, whether it's hitting the lottery or becoming president or whatever it is, you've got to. And I'm just way summing this up here. Is obsess about it, that you will not stop. Nothing else matters. That is your goal, and you live it, you breathe it, you eat it, you sleep it, that every waking moment is, how will I reach that goal to whatever it is?
I think if it's that big of a goal, I mean, I wasn't in the movie The Secret. I was in the follow-up movie Beyond the Secret, which not too many people actually saw it.
Oh, okay.
But that's what I came on and said, it's not just about thinking about it. You actually have to do something. But to your point, I think you're right. I mean, I think there is a healthy, obsession with the end result, whereas most people are spending their nights watching American Idol or doing whatever they do for entertainment. These people are focused on getting the goal, and they're really not going to stop until they have it. There's no question about that.
That's a great point, and it brings up, if you look at some of our founding fathers and people throughout history, you look at what they did, some of them were statesmen and inventors, and they were business owners and distillers and authors. They did all this stuff, and I think to myself, they didn't live to be 112. They didn't have all this modern technology. How did they do it? Well, they also didn't have the distractions of television and games and all of this other stuff. It was at night they wrote or thought and put stuff down on paper.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, but I think there were other distractions. I mean, everyone went down to the pub every night and drank and did all these different things. And I mean, yeah, maybe not to the level we have now, but I mean, I think they certainly could have been doing what the masses were doing, but they did. And I think that it might sound elitist to people, but that's just the reality of it. The people, the achievers that built this country, I mean, and then the people that continue to get wealthy, are out there doing the work. There's no question about that. I mean, you can't really take that away from them. People like to have scorn and disdain for the rich, but without the rich, America wouldn't exist.
Those characters are represented in the Atlas Shrugged movie that was out recently too. Hank Rearden and Dagny Taggart. I mean, these are people that were driven. This was what they do. They want these goals, and that's one of the themes of the movie and book that I really like.
Oh, I agree with you. I think Atlas Shrugged is the greatest novel written in the 21st century, the 20th century, and now it's more applicable in the 21st century, it seems, in America than ever. I encourage everyone to read that book. I mean, geez, if Atlas Shrugged has not come to life in the Obama administration, I'm not sure what it is.
Right, and regardless of your political affiliation, what you think, there are some real lessons to learn about making money and earning, and money and profit is not bad. It's interesting, Steve. I haven't made millions. I haven't accomplished some of those things, but I have had some smaller successes with business. And some of it was followed by, I got a divorce and things changed and I moved and kind of got out of the mindset. But I had some fleeting moments, months on end, where I was in that mindset where I got it. And it's an exciting thing to drive down the road and you keep focused on this goal, but everywhere I looked, I saw opportunity. I mean, it didn't matter. Just the things that you look at day in and day out, the same exit, the same road, the same sign, the same tree, the same houses. Every day I drove down and my mind was just abuzz constantly. Whether it was seeing a bunch of trees and saying, hey, I wonder if you could timber those. And how much money do you get from timbering something if I bought a lot? I mean, just whatever it was, angle after angle flooded my head. And that was really cool.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think that and that's what I wrote this book about, was how rich people think, is that that's how they think. That's how they're thinking all the time. And I think the amazing thing is any of us can do this. I've spent, again, almost 30 years with millionaires and billionaires from Palm Beach to Sydney, and they're no different than us. I mean, there's the occasional rogue genius, but 99% of these people are people of average intelligence, average education, sometimes below average formal education. But they're thinking just like you're saying. They're always looking for the opportunity, and they're excited, and they're going toward the goal. Whereas I think most of us are thinking, well, they're better, smarter, more educated, whatever it is than me, and I'll never be able to have that. I'll struggle with money my whole life. And it's a lie. It's not true. We can all do this.
It's really cool. Like I said, it's not an obsession, in a bad way. So maybe obsession's a bad word. It was a fun passion. It's almost like when you're excited to whatever it is, have a good dinner or to see somebody or go to a movie or whatever you're looking forward to tonight at 8:00. It's like that, but all the time about opportunity and development. And I say this not just for the audience, Steve, but I'm trying to get myself back into that mindset because it was a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you mentioned Ayn Rand with Atlas Shrugged, of course, the author of Atlas Shrugged. And in The Fountainhead, if you remember, one of the characters talked about living the opportunity to live an unrestricted, what he called an unrestricted existence. Doing what you want, when you want, with whom you want, for as long as you want, and not having to answer to anyone because you have the financial resources to do it. And I think that's what we're talking about, the possibility of complete freedom. I mean, if you don't have money, I don't know how you can really be free in America because you're going to have to answer to someone that does have money.
Well, I appreciate.
And it's yeah.
Go ahead. No, I appreciate the attitude in the book, How Rich People Think. It's Steve Siebold. And what I'll do, Steve, is I'm going to put a link to your book on my blog at 700WLW.com because I want people, I try to give people ideas and other things I'm thinking because I want people to be successful. Go out and do. I think a lot of it comes down to the right attitude.
Yeah, you're right. We can all do this. I think that's the thing that bugs me the most. I mean, I did a TV tour it started in Orlando, went all the way to Australia last year about this book, and people would come to me on the street, people emailed me, all these people, we've hit millions of people with the book, and people said, the biggest thing is people say, well, I wish I was smart enough to be rich, or, I wish I could do it, but I never went to college, or whatever their excuses. And I keep telling people, believe me, I know a lot about millionaires. I spent my whole life with them, interviewing them. They're no better than us. We can do this. Everyone can do this. And I really mean that sincerely because I've seen it.
Well, this is exciting. How Rich People Think, the author Steve Siebold. I appreciate you joining me, sir.
Thanks, Doc. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'm going to get some of your calls, tell you about some other opportunities coming up next on the big one, 700 WLW. Storm Tracker forecast from Fox 19 and Frank Marzullo. Afternoon high today, 92 with sunny skies. Slight possibility of a thunderstorm later on. Clear skies tonight, overnight low 70. It's 80 right now at 700 WLW. Mark in Hebron, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fine, sir.
Don't you think that the rich should start spreading the money around a little bit?
What do you mean spreading it around a little bit?
I'm just kidding. I heard somebody that you were talking to, I don't know, it's been a while,
okay.
And that was their attitude. That people that have earned money and done well for themselves owe the rest of us, and they really don't. I mean, they've earned their way, and it should be the way it is. But I just recall somebody calling you.
Yeah, well, that's a general attitude. I'm sure there's been plenty of people who have called and said similar things like that. And, Mark, that's a common theme. And I'll bet there's a lot of people that heard that interview that really didn't get it and were thinking exactly what you were saying. Well, they should just spread the money around.
Well, exactly. And believe me, I'm just kind of, I just wanted to raise that. And I don't believe that. I believe that if they've earned money and that they're supplying or they're providing jobs that people don't even realize, they don't realize that part of it.
And it's funny, Mark, I was serious when I said I had fleeting moments of that attitude, and I'm hoping, and I'm working now after I've gotten beyond a bunch of things in my life, just incredibly busy things, family things, and getting married, all this stuff that has taken my focus away. I enjoy what I do here. I love what I do. But I also want to make some more money. So how can I make more money? You may like what you do, but you want to make some more money. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good thing, regardless of people telling you profits are wrong and evil and bad. Go make money. Go enjoy. I liked Steve's positive attitude that now is a great time because there's so many things wrong that people want help with or fixed or solutions. But the general attitude, I'm here to tell you, I have sampled just the beginnings of it. And he is absolutely right. It's not just the power of positive thinking or thinking positive. No, that sounds hokey. It sounds cliche, but it is true. If you can focus on it and get your mind in that right mindset where you're not distracted by the other stuff. It's not about forgetting about your family or other obligations or being insensitive or not caring. It's about being positive where you look throughout your day at everything as an opportunity. Every moment, how can I make this a positive? You get pulled over and someone gives you a speeding ticket. How can I make this a positive? How is there an economic benefit to me? Can I teach somebody, whatever it is, can I teach them how to not get pulled over? Can I write a book about it? Can I tell them where the speed traps are in a certain area? Whatever it is, you've got to look at it as there's got to be an angle in here to make money. And that's something you have to think about all the time. And then when you get your angle, the thing you're working on, you work on it all the time. Sure, you can take time off and have dinner with family and friends and your job and whatever, but it's got to be in your head when you go to bed at night, when you wake up in the morning, and you have that free time to go down and tinker on it. Are you somebody that likes to work on something? You're working on your house, and you get excited about it. Hey, I'm putting that room on my house, or I'm renovating another house, or whatever it is, and you get excited. Well, it's like that. Same thing. You got to get excited and focus on it. That's the way forward, and that's what we should be teaching people. We should be teaching kids financial literacy and how to think positive about business and being self-sufficient. That they should think about this stuff, whatever their passion is. It's okay to be passionate about something and also make money off of it. Hey, I'm passionate to be an artist. Do you have to be a starving artist too? No, you don't have to suffer for your art. I'm sorry. You don't have to. It's good to be passionate. Follow your heart and your passion first. That's okay. I'm not saying don't. If your passion is not to make money, but to be an artist or a homemaker, whatever it is, it's okay to follow your heart, but also say, and how can I make a bunch of money off of this to provide a better life for me, my family, whomever? It's all right to do that. More of your calls coming up on 700 WLW. Coming up this Sunday at Vino Clet Winery, 1 o'clock. Our Carbon Sense Carbon Party. Yeah, Doc Thompson saving the planet. Lots of good people coming together to save the plants and save the planet. We've got to offset the offsets. Offset the greenies' offsets. Well, they're offsetting their carbon footprint, and I like things how they are. I like the trees. I like the plants. I don't want to steal their carbon dioxide and their carbon. So I've been struggling to do what I can to offset their offsets, to keep that crucial balance. But I feel I'm losing the battle. As much as I'm doing to create as carbon every day in and day out, thinking, concentrating on creating carbon, I feel like I'm losing the battle. So I've enlisted the help of a lot of good people who are also trying to create as much carbon in their personal lives to come together on Sunday and create even more carbon. There'll be good fellowship, some barbecue, hanging out, good music, creating as much carbon as we can. Vino Clet Winery, 1 o'clock. If you need details, just go to my blog at 700WLW.com. After all, it just makes carbon sense. It really comes down to the attitude. I'm realizing the war is being lost over attitude. See, it's very easy for a politician to say, boy, your life sucks. Elect me and I'll set you free. Vote for me and I will set you free. People have been elected and appointed and achieved dictatorships and monarchs and all kinds of office to that level by saying, vote for me and I'll set you free. Now, some of it was good, some of it was not. But it's really easy to point to people and say, look at what they have. How come you don't? It's very basic. Because of that, we're losing the war. We're losing the war of ideas. The ideas that say, you need to be responsible. You need to be a good person. We can't force you to. We can't mandate you do. All we can do is force personal responsibility to govern your actions. You want to be a bad person? You want to do the wrong things, whatever those wrong things are? If they're not illegal, they're just wrong. Well, then you suffer the consequences. And if they're illegal, you suffer the consequences. We're losing the ideas. We're losing that to people who say, how come I don't have? Instead of saying the reason you don't have is because, through no fault of your own maybe, you just don't have the right attitude. It's not just about opportunity. Sure, some people are born into that lucky club where they have the people with a bunch of money handing it to them upon their birth. Some people are born into other situations that are very beneficial. Some people are born with a particular talent that is just the fast track to money, fortune, fame. But for a lot of us that are pretty basic, simple people, you still have incredible opportunity. It doesn't matter where you're born or what your situation, it's out there. If you think of it right, and it's not just about positive thinking, it's about just going and doing. But we're losing the war. We're losing the war because people have gotten used to saying, I want that. We become brats and spoiled. I want it. How come those rich people have it? How come I don't? Well, go and try. And we teach financial literacy and we teach that attitude, we're going to be better off. Tim Pawlenty, he wants to be your president. Former Minnesota governor is out campaigning. He gave one of his first official campaign speeches at the University of Chicago, and he laid out a new income tax system. Now, there's a lot of things I bring up all the time. Taxes and spending, all of the other political issues, even locally, like SB 5, and all of this stuff, and what is the right way forward? Well, first and foremost, it comes down to attitude, as I mentioned. But there are specifics like the tax structure and stuff like that, that if we change them, will open up as many economic possibilities and opportunities for people as possible. Income tax or tax restructuring in general is really important. Some of what Tim Pawlenty said is pretty positive, a pretty good step. And some of it, he might be missing the boat. He might be a little off on. Now, maybe some of this he said because he thinks he could get it done, whereas some of the ideas of stuff that we really should be doing and need to be doing would be a political nightmare. Some stuff people don't want to hear. Telling people the truth often will not get you elected or will not get you followers. Remember, vote for me and I'll set you free. If I tell you the truth, it may not work to my advantage. So maybe he's just thinking, well, I've got to spin it a little bit because if I told you what really should happen, you wouldn't elect me. There's a lot of people are used to give me, give me, give me. He said, first of all, we need to simplify the individual tax rates as far as income tax goes. Just 3 options is what we should have, and we should cut taxes on businesses by more than half. Cut business taxes by half, and there would be 3 individual tax rates. He said he would eliminate taxes on investments and inheritance. And he's absolutely, the death tax, inheritance tax, get rid of it. I've laid it out pretty extensively before. And there's even people like Senator Seitz who knows it's wrong but still goes along with it because he doesn't want to tell people the truth, that you should lose that money that you're currently depending upon in the communities because he wants to get reelected. Perfect example. Eliminate it on the inheritance. It's immoral. It's wrong. People have already paid taxes on it. Investments. Eliminate it. He said, our policies just can't be about simply cutting taxes. They also have to promote freedom and free markets, and he's right about that. So here's the basic plan, some of the ideas. He said the estimated 45% of U.S. households that did not pay income tax in 2010 would see no change in their tax rates. If he can pound that home as part of his plan, then those people might be inclined to go along with it. See, all this other stuff I want to change, don't worry. If you're one of those 45% that aren't paying, you're still not going to pay. Oh, okay, it doesn't affect me then? Oh, okay, let's see what else you have to say then. He said individuals would pay 10% on their first $50,000 of income. Couples earning $100,000 would also pay that rate. So up to the first 50% of income, 10%. $100,000 for couples. Everything above that would be taxed at 25%. Some of the basic ideas. Well, at first it's intriguing. Maybe it could work. I have some red flags about it. I certainly like the getting rid of taxes on investment and inheritance and stuff like that. But I couldn't get elected with my plan because I want that 45% to pay their share. Why is it we always talk about the rich paying their share, but we never talk about the poor paying their fair share? You poor people in America have vastly more than many people around the globe. Just because you're at the low end of the economic ladder in America doesn't mean you don't have a fair share to pay. You should pay your fair share. The fair share should be based on a simple, flat percentage if you are going to have an income tax. No exceptions, no deductions. We should all be invested or vested in our government. 10% across the board. And if you are poor and you only make $25,000 a year and you want more, earn more. You'll pay 10% on that, but it's not going to go up as you earn more because you're paying your 10%. And that way, when somebody leading a middle-class life, see you going behind the curtain and getting ready to pull that lever to make your votes, I know that you're paying your fair share. You're paying your 10% just like me. That way we're all doing our part. Why don't the poor pay their fair share? Doc Thompson, 700 WLW. Doc Thompson on 700 WLW. Back to the phones we go. Whoops, wrong one there. Pat, how are you?
Fine, how you doing?
Doing fine, sir. Am I on to something here? Am I on the right attitude about how we need to proceed?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was working, making $30-something thousand a year. Quit my job. I took a remedial job, making a lot less than I was, and now, basically with government incentives and everything, I'm making the same or if not more than I was before.
So you quit your job, and now you're getting assistance, and you're actually making more.
Yeah.
See, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
I get free insurance. I couldn't afford my insurance before. I get money for food, and I get cash to pay my bills.
See, and would you say that's kind of an incentive then for people to just go ahead and take it? I mean, you're making more.
Yes, I would. I mean, now I have a job where I have a lot less responsibility. You know, I've got a little bit better hours and I work less, and I make almost the same, or if not more than what I did.
So if we take away the incentive, Pat, don't you think there would be more people that were actually out working and trying and doing whatever?
Yes, I would. I think that I would try to get a better job.
So are you less motivated then?
Yes, I am.
How do you spend your time?
Well, I mean, I still work. I exercise. I do things around my house. Things I didn't have time to before.
But you're just not driven anymore like you maybe used to be.
Correct.
See, you are the perfect call, Pat, and I really appreciate you calling and sharing and being honest. Thank you so much for your honesty and sharing your story. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to blast Pat. I understand how you get in that mindset. Trust me, I understand it. As much as I've had my lows and been excited at times and done some side things in business that were successful, I've also had those lows. You know, going through a divorce and lose a job and all this stuff, and the weight of the world is just, falling in on you, and you just get in that rut of sitting around and, hey, I'm on unemployment and the money's coming in. I understand that. I get it. But because I've seen both of those, I understand you've got to have the right attitude. You've got to take away that incentive to stay in that rut and say, go out and earn and achieve. Listen, there's a lot of people in the middle class that for a long time got tired of seeing people not doing and getting. I've heard it my whole life from parents, relatives, friends at the earliest of ages. I'm sure you have said it. You've heard it. Look at them. They're not even working. They're not doing anything. Look at that house they have. They're driving that car. They're not working. They're in welfare. You've seen it. You've heard it. You've said it. Well, at some point, you got to say to yourself, who's the fool? Me for continuing to go out and bust my hump? Or them? At some point, you start saying, it's me. You can't beat them, join them. I understand that is natural. That's a natural temptation, and it's real easy to say and do. Instead of us saying, you know what, I'm going to go out and make enough money that I don't have to worry about taxes. You're taking 50% of my taxes or 80% of my taxes. I don't care because I'm making $42 million a year. You know what? I'm okay with that, by the way. It's not right. I wouldn't like it. But if I can make $400 million this year, $400 million, and they want to take 60% in taxes, fine, so be it. I mean, it's a little easier. It still ticked me off, but it's a little easier to swallow because I still end up with millions of dollars. By the way, there is a new plan to spend $10 million on food deserts. What? Food deserts, $10 million. Details next on the big one, 700 WLW. $10 million for food deserts. What the heck are food deserts? Well, these are areas that are underserved, according to Michelle Obama and others. Underserved with groceries and access to fruits and vegetables. Families who wind up buying their groceries at local gas stations or convenience stores. You get into some areas where they don't have the big supermarkets. And she put out, the USDA and Michelle Obama put out a graph of some areas that are hard hit by food deserts. When I think of a desert, I think nothing there or very little there. So people can still get, they just may not have access to everything. And because of that, they're putting up $10 million in grants to create things like roadside stands and healthy food outlets. Grants, when these people could simply move. They're not locked into staying there. It says the priority this year is to bring fresh food to people living in rural and urban food deserts. Food deserts. How can we have food deserts and also fat people? How can we have food deserts and have an obesity problem? Michelle Obama says we have obesity problems, but we also have food deserts. How are these things possible? Here's the simple fact of the matter. It may not be as quote-unquote healthy to eat certain foods. But as far as obesity, eat less and exercise more. That was proven again recently by a guy who went on the all junk food and Twinkies diet and everything else. Over and over, people try these where they simply lower their calories. May not be as healthy. You may have certain other things wrong with you. In some cases, though, they didn't. Their cholesterol didn't necessarily go up. But if you eat less and exercise more, you will weigh less. So really, by putting money to these food deserts and more money to food stamps, she's actually exacerbating the problem. She's creating more obese problems. She's creating more obesity. By putting money so there's more food available, where people will continue to eat more and more regardless of what it is. It's not about being fresh. She's creating more of a problem. How do we have food deserts and an obesity problem? $10 million extra dollars. Doc Thompson on the home of the Reds, 700 WLW.